London, England, one of the most beautiful, culturally rich, historic cities in the whole world, which just means one thing: your kids are going to say it's boring.
If your kids find trips steeped in history to be unbearable, we've come up with an itinerary that just might help you score some points. We're exploring London from the bottom to the very top.
Hope you're not afraid of heights, because this episode might not be for you.
They might be saying, "Dad, I'm bored."
But we have found the cure for that boredom.
From the winter wonderland that might not leave them empty-handed to the thrill ride high above the River Thames, to the toy stores that are uniquely London.
How can you visit this amazing city and make sure your kids have a fun time at the same time? We're counting down the ways in this special episode of Window Seat. All right, here we are, London, England. Just arrived here yesterday on a plane. First full day in the city as a family. We're finding ways to explore. Of course, my wife and I want to do all the fun historic stuff, really soak in the culture of the place, but my kids get bored easily. So we're counting down the top 5 things you can do in London with your family. First up on the list, we are taking you to a winter wonderland right here in the heart of London, England.
We're talking about the Hyde Park Winter Wonderland, a German Christmas market meets carnival meets state fair right in the heart of the city. But hurry, you can only experience this just a few weeks out of the year. We were there in the closing days of the Christmas season. It's usually open from mid-November to the first week of January. Entry tickets cost in the ballpark of $7.50, which is not too bad, but if you want games and rides and food, that'll all cost you more. In fact, for a family of 4, once you pay for entry and food and rides, you're probably going to be out well over $200. Now, this ain't cheap, but hey, this city is not cheap. My son got a real kick out of the carnival games, throwing darts, trying to knock over blocks, all that fun carnival stuff. My daughter was frustrated because, as usual, it is very difficult to win at these games.
Because of the rings, they come off super easily. That's the trick with this one.
Is it a rip-off?
They're all rip-off.
But lest you think they're all rigged and you can't win anything, not so. Look at this. My son sunk a couple of shots on the snowball slam.
Thank you.
And he won this massive stuffed animal that then became our travel companion for the rest of the day.
Laughing.
You try lugging one of these things around London. The Winter Wonderland has full-blown thrill rides like these roller coasters, which are actually pretty decent for a glorified carnival. And they've got lots of fun food and drink options, too. For those of you who like the German feel of traditional Christmas markets, you'll love this. They even have a Bavarian hall that gives off Oktoberfest vibes. And inside, it's nice and warm. There's lots of food from all over the world, especially from Germany, where Heidi's Kitchen had the pretzels and the schnitzel and the beer and all that stuff you love. After that, we took a ride on the City Star. It's a pretty big Ferris wheel that cost extra on top of the tickets to get in.
If you'd like an audio guide of the park from Capital Breakfast, Jordan North, Chris Duck and Sean Welby, please press 1.
Once on board, though, we really got staggering views of the city. An unexpected surprise. A look out the back window gave us a great view of central London, the skyline off in the distance there. From the other side, a great view of this vast park and the amusement park below. Thankfully, we had a rare sunny day so we could see for miles. After a few spins around, we were back on the ground, massive stuffed animal in hand, ready to take on the rest of London. The kids give the Hyde Park Winter Wonderland a thumbs up. No, it's not the most culturally enriching experience you could possibly have in London, but it's fun for the kids, and if you give them a little fun time, maybe they'll endure all that historic stuff you want to do a little more gleefully.
So yes, it is just seasonal. You can't enjoy it year-round, but for at least a couple months out of the year, this is one surefire way to entertain those kiddos when you're here in London, England. All right, next up, let's take those kids to the top of the town so they can get a bird's eye view of this amazing city.
And it doesn't get much higher than a trip to the top of the London Eye.
You excited, Boo?
I don't know. I'm scared of heights, so let's see.
Right here on the south bank of the River Thames in the heart of central London, this massive observation wheel stands high above the city, and it is popular and pricey. We paid for fast-track tickets, which were about £50 each, and we bought a photo package, too, which we could have done without. I mean, look at these goofy green screen photos they give you. Not worth the price of about 20 extra pounds. Again, for a family of 4, this experience is not a cheap endeavor, but nothing in London is. But when that eye starts spinning and you start soaking in the views, that price tag suddenly starts to seem worth it.
Okay, so right now we're about to top out here at the tippy top of the Ferris wheel. It's about 443 feet in the air, and you definitely feel like you're on the top of it. But unlike traditional Ferris wheels, the cars don't shake at all. It's a steady ride, and you would think that even with 20 plus other strangers in the car with you, you'd feel strange or feel forced into odd conversations. But the reality is you can just kind of mill about, have a good time, walk around, check out London from every angle.
It really is a smooth ride. If you're scared of heights, I genuinely don't think this is going to bother you. And just look around. Crazy good views of Parliament and Big Ben. Over here, look out the other window. You'll see the striking contrast of the very modern London skyline up against the 350-year-old St. Paul's Cathedral, where Charles and Diana were married. You'll get great views of the Thames and all the bridges that cross it. And out this window, you can see all the way down to Buckingham Palace. Warning though, when you go to ride the London Eye, you are not going to be alone.
Believe it or not, this is actually the most popular tourist attraction in the entire United Kingdom. They say 3 million people come here every year to ride the London Eye, and it really sort of kicked off this trend of mega cities all over the world building these massive Ferris wheels as tourist attractions. This, I feel like, was one of the first, again, about a quarter century ago. It still has not lost any of its popularity.
With that in mind, word of advice, do what we did. Buy those tickets online and in advance. And buy the Fast Track Pass. We sailed right on board. Our total wait time was less than 5 minutes. Money well spent when you have a short window to enjoy everything London has to offer with your kids.
The London Eye, it is not a cheap way to entertain the kids, but it's a memorable one nevertheless. All right, let's go shopping. I'm not talking about just any shopping, some very special kid-oriented shopping right here in jolly old London.
There are a million shopping options for kids in London. We were immediately drawn to the bustling Lego store. And we weren't the only ones. There's actually a line outside just to get in. This place is so popular. Why? Well, walk in the doors. First thing you see is a full-sized Aston Martin made of Legos. You can actually get inside, sit down, and honk the horn. There's also a double-decker London bus, again made from Legos. Lots and lots of odes to Harry Potter. And a huge Lego Big Ben staring right out the front window. My son loved this place. We spent like an hour in here, and it was a nice break from all the hustle and bustle of trying to see all the historic tourist attractions here in London. We also loved going to Selfridge & Co. It's an iconic London department store with a vast toy department. They had a huge collection of Jellycats, which is a very well-known and beloved London brand that makes stuffed animals. My daughter loves them, and trying to find her favorite Jellycats was probably her favorite thing from the entire trip. The toy store at Selfridge's is branded FAO Schwarz, sort of the most iconic name in toy stores. So they take toys seriously, and they know what they're doing here. And then finally, a trip to what I would call the greatest store in the entire world. We're talking about Harrods. I took you inside here in a previous episode of Window Seat. I'll put a link to that in the upper right-hand corner there and in the description below so you can check it out. But everything about Harrods is bigger and better, and so you got to check out the toy store there too. Again, this is all an effort to keep your kids happy and engaged while on your trip. If they're like mine, they're going to get bored to tears if you try to make them go through all the museums and historic buildings all day long. So a little goodwill with the toy store visit might go a long way.
So yeah, there you have it, a trip to Harrods. It is a very memorable place. Your kids are going to enjoy it, I promise. Once they see that toy store, they're going to get a big kick out of it. You might leave with a little less money, but hey, how often are you going to be in London, right? Okay, we have shown you the top of London. Now let's show you the very bottom. Let's go underground.
This is a cheap way to entertain the kids and get around this city of nearly 9 million people. Just take the Tube. The Tube is the nickname for the London Underground, the vast subway network beneath the city. More than 1 billion passengers take the Tube each year. It's 250 miles of track, connect 270 different stations. And it is a fun way to experience real London culture, do some people watching, and learn those fun London phrases like mind the gap and see it, say it, sort it. Take a couple of rides on the Tube and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. And the best part for families, kids under 11 travel for free with a paying adult, which makes it nice. and you can use the tube to take you to all kinds of kid-friendly attractions like the London Zoo and to King's Cross St. Pancras Station, where you'll find platform 9 3/4, where Harry Potter and his fellow wizards departed for Hogwarts.
Exploring this great city by using the tube. I don't know what it is. Every time I go to a major city, I just want to get on the subway system and see how it works, where it can get you, and how cheap it is. This one costs £2.80. Is that how you say that? $2.80 in pounds. And it's a cheap way to explore. Far cheaper than taking a cab. All right, now let's mix in a little bit of history, why don't we? I think your kids can tolerate this.
Certainly, they can handle a visit to Buckingham Palace, home to King Charles. Built in the year 1705, it's one of the most iconic buildings in all of London. Outside its massive gilded gates, you can see the guards doing their rounds. And if you time it just right, you can watch the changing of the guard, which usually happens every morning, May through July, and every other morning the rest of the year. And if you time out your trip just right, you can actually tour the palace. It's open in the summer and on select dates throughout the year. Those dates book up early, so you'll want to book in advance on the Royal Collection Trust website. We'll put a link in the description below. Tickets cost around £30 for adults, £16 for kids. A couple of things to know before you go. You cannot take pictures inside, which is a real bummer, and there's no food or drink allowed.
So a trip to Buckingham Palace. Yes, it's a little history, but I think it's a tolerable amount. Your kids are going to love it, and how cool to get to see the changing of the guard and explain to them the whole concept of having a monarchy and all the stuff they may not be familiar with. So there you have it, trip to London with the kids. Again, it's not always easy to keep them entertained, but these are a few things I think you can do to make that trip a little more enjoyable for them. And when they're happy, you're happy. At least that's how it works in my house. That's it for this episode of Window Seat. Hope you enjoyed it. What did we miss out on? What did we leave out? Let us know in the comments down there below. We'd love to get your take on what's fun to do in this city with kiddos like this darling one right here.
I am not a darling.
Yeah, well, sometimes you're not. Also, we'd love it if you liked and shared the video so we can spread the word about our travels, and hit subscribe so you can follow along as we try to hit every country in the world. We're pushing 80 countries right now. Just 110 or so to go. Certainly hope you'll join us for another episode. Drops every Friday morning at 8 a.m. Eastern. In the meantime, check out one of these other episodes from Window Seat.